guys! Great news today. I have just joined the YouTube Partner Program, the full YouTube Partner Program. So I just want to say a huge thank you for all of your likes, your subscribes, your watch hours. It's been really helpful in getting us there, and yeah, just really grateful for that. Thank you very much. So today what I thought I would do is to take a look at some of the poll results. If you don't know what this is, in the community tab on my channel, over the past few months, I've been running some polls. So basically like, which beer is best in Rwanda, which city you think is best to visit outside of Kigali, those kind of things. So what I thought I'd do today is just have a little bit of a review of a few of those and see whether or not I agree, see whether or not I have anything to add to the debate. So here we go. So first up, outside of Kigali, which is your favourite province to visit? And the poll says... The poll says Western Province. So I'm just looking at the results here. Western Province by a long way. Like that's majorly, definitely where everybody wants to go for the weekend. So that's got 57%. There were only 14 responses here because this was the first poll that I posted. So as we go through, there's a few more people sort of joining in. But out of those 14 results, Southern Province, Eastern Province and Northern Province all kind of get the same amount, 14%. But Western Province has blown it out the water, ha 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 ha, with the lake. And yeah, 57%. And I'm going to go... I agree with that. I really do. Western Province is just beautiful. I mean, you've got Gisenyi, you've got Kibuye, which is one of my favourite places. It is really pretty. You've got the lakes, you've got Napoleon Island with the bats. It's just a really, really beautiful side of the country. However, I will say that I'm surprised Northern Province didn't get more because that's where you go if you're going gorilla trekking, golden monkeys, Musanze and Musanze caves, which I still haven't been to yet and I really want to go and see. So, there's a lot of things to do in Northern Province. So I thought that probably would have scored a bit higher. And also a very, very close second for me is Southern Province, because as you know, one of my favourite places in Rwanda is Nyanza Mwami Palace. You've also got Hue there with the Ethnographic Museum. So I thought that might have scored a bit higher. It's the centre of student life in Rwanda. But yeah, no, I agree with those results. If you could only pick one province outside Kigali, Western Province is probably it. Okay, so on to poll number 2. When staying in Rwanda, would you rather stay in a tent at Akagera Safari Park, a roundhouse in Bugesera Wetlands, Serena by the beach in Gisenyi, or a house on stilts in Lake Kivu, or on Lake Kivu, or next to Lake Kivu, not actually in Lake Kivu because that wouldn't be much fun. But yeah, near Lake Kivu. Which one would you rather have? Now this one was a bit more scattered in the results. 18 people replied, and the winner with 44% was at Serena Hotel in Gisenyi because it's got that beautiful beach behind it. It's near to the lake. It's a nice place. And also with the hotel, you get a bit of luxury. Close behind that were the houses on stilts at Lake Kivu. Now, if you don't know, that is a picture of Riza village, and that is a really, really nice place to stay. It is literally these wooden houses on stilts that look right out across the lake. I've done a video about those before. It's pretty special. I like that place a lot, but also I like the roundhouse. The round huts you'll find at Bugesera Lodge, which is run by my friend Jocelyn. She does this incredible French spread. You can go there just for lunch. It's very, very nice. And the tent in Akagera, I did stay in a tent in Akagera once. I would say it was an experience. It wasn't very comfortable because, you're kind of on the ground. I didn't have a very good mat. And also you're listening to the hippos and the animals. We had an elephant wandered into the campsite in the middle of the night. There was a lot going on there, so I didn't get any sleep at all. But it was okay because we went with Jessie from Quasar Brewery and she was basically pulling beer the whole weekend. So we were fine. We were drunk, surrounded by hippos and elephants. It's amazing we made it out alive at all. But yeah, so I actually don't agree with the winning result here because I don't mind hotels. I like hotels, but I'm more of a kind of I like unique, slightly different places to stay. So, you know, Riza Village for me or the Roundhouses, I think will probably be my favourite. I do like camping, but camping in Akagera, ooh, that was an experience. That was a little bit, yeah, you have to keep your wits about you there. But yeah, I like probably Riza Village House on Stilts. Actually, the one that I probably add to that now is the tree house on Lake Ruhondo, which we stayed in the other week. I'll leave a link to that video below as well, because that's a very cool place to get away from town. Okay, so number 3, where would you rather eat tonight? Would you rather eat at India Khazana, which is a very, very well-established Indian restaurant in Kigali, probably the best one. It's been here for years and years. Sola Luna Pizzeria, which is an Italian place in Chisimenti, near Chisimenti. Mr. Chips Burgers, burgers and fries, or a local resto for bruschettes and beer. And our results came back very, very clearly. Local resto for bruschettes and beer. Now, I have to admit, I have a very, very special place in my heart for both Casa Khazana, which used to be called India Khazana, and Sola Luna, because when I first arrived here in 2007, 2008, they were 2 of the only really established restaurants, foreign restaurants available. And as volunteers, we couldn't really afford to eat there very often. But every now and again, we'd have a special treat going to Sola Luna because the VSO office used to be within walking distance of Sola Luna. And if we had enough money, we'd pool together, we'd go and get pizza at Sola Luna. So I have very, very fond memories of Sola Luna and of Casa Khazana, India Khazana, because they do just incredibly good food. And it's been consistently good over the years. You know, a lot of restaurants, they start up, they're really good for the first few weeks and then they go a bit downhill. But, you know, Khazana has remained very, very good. Nowadays, I love Mr. Chips. I really do. I very rarely order takeout, but when I do, it's usually a burger from Mr. Chips just because, you know, they make really good and fast food. I think that's the key to Mr. Chips, is they are actually a fast food restaurant. You know, you order and it arrives really quickly. And they also are quite consistently good in what they deliver. Yeah, the problem that I find with local restos, bruschettes and beer, is the idea is nice, but it entirely depends on which local resto you go to, because often I find bruschettes they're overcooked, they're a bit dry, you know, sometimes you'll get a really good one and then sometimes you'll get really bad. Like consistent quality tends to be a bit hit and miss with local restos. But the beer is cheap. I will definitely give it that. So I think it very much depends who your local resto is. So yeah, out of those, if I was going to choose to eat tonight, if I'm staying at home, I might order takeout from Mr. Chips. If I'm going out, I'll probably go for India Khazana, Casa Khazana, if I'm feeling flush and I've got a bit of money to burn. So yeah. Okay, so number 4, we've had something to eat. Where are we going to go for a drink? Now, the options here were sangria at Casa Chiesa, cocktails at Lavana, craft beer at Quasar Women's Brewery, or bubble tea at the Bubble Tea Room. And I only discovered the Bubble Tea Room a few weeks ago because I went to Musi to have a pedicure. And as I was leaving Kigali Business Centre, I saw the Bubble Tea Room and I haven't been there yet. So probably a future video, I do want to go and get bubble tea at the Bubble Tea Room. And that has come out way ahead, 55%. And I'm not sure if that's because people have been there and really like it, or if a few of my viewers just don't drink alcohol and therefore the other ones wouldn't really appeal. Although I will say that Quasar Craft Brewery now does really, really good non-alcoholic sodas. So that's worth checking out if you don't drink. I'm surprised that nobody said cocktails at Lavana, because Lavana is pretty well known for doing really, really good tiki style cocktails. I got a cocktail once there that was on fire. My cocktail was on fire. So that was impressive. I do like the cocktails at Lavana, but I will admit, bit pricey, you know, not sure that many people go out of their way to go there. I do like the sangria at Casa Queza. Full disclosure, Casa Queza was originally set up by my friend Maya, who you've seen a few times on this channel. We went to the Treehouse together most recently. So, you know, she's a good friend. And also it's kind of a local for me because it's not that far to go. So I do hang out there a bit sometimes. And yeah, I like the sangria. They do a very big jug. Again, not that cheap, but a big jug of ice cold red wine sangria or white wine sangria. Very, very good. Nowadays, I would probably say the place that I hang out the most, or the place that I would choose to go for a drink, you know, with some friends for a catch up, probably Queza Women's Brewery. I have a very soft spot for that. Set up by Jessie, who's just a wonderful person. And yeah, I like their style, you know, and the fact that it's a women's brewery, because in history, women were the first brewers. It looks from the historical records, the archaeological records we have, that women were the first people to brew beer. So it wasn't really a man's game until much later on in history. So yeah, Ninkasi, goddess of beer in Mesopotamia 4,000 years ago. Brewing. So I like the fact that it's mostly women run, it's mostly women led, that the brewers themselves are mostly women, and also their product is fantastic. I mean, we haven't had a craft brewery in Rwanda before. We've always had Mutzig, we've had Skol, we've had Amstel, but we've never had craft beer actually locally made for the consumer market. So people brew at home in the calabashes with the straws, but for the consumer market, I really like what they've done, and they've worked really, really hard to get it done. So yeah, I like Queza, big Queza fan, but I am going to go and check out the bubble tea. So just following on with that theme with our next poll, which is the best bottled beer in Rwanda? Now, I thought that the results for this will be more controversial than they are. So I gave the options of Skol, Primus, Mutzig, and Virunga. And Mutzig came out by a mile, 69%. So Mutzig is just knocking it out of the park there. That in itself didn't surprise me. I am a huge Mutzig fan. Mutzig is my beer. When I'm not at Queza Craft Brewery, Mutzig is my beer. But I thought Primus might be more of kind of a competitor, because when I first moved here years and years and years ago, there were pretty much only two beers. There was Mutzig and Primus, and you were in one camp or the other. So I kind of thought it would be a bit more closely matched. But no, Mutzig has completely overtaken Primus there. So that was interesting. I also thought somebody might comment with Amstel, but nobody has. So yeah, Mutzig or bust, basically, and I agree with those results. So the very, very last one, just a quick poll that I put up there because I was curious, is when you're traveling, do you prefer to stay in a hotel or do you prefer to stay in an Airbnb? And I was just kind of curious about this. So I've popped that up, and it is absolutely neck and neck, 20 votes, so 10 people each. 50% would prefer a hotel, 50% would prefer Airbnb. Yeah, I guess it entirely depends on the hotel or the Airbnb, you know, because you can have really amazing experiences and really bad experiences with both of those. But it seems like people are fairly, you know, okay one way or the other. Yeah, for me, I've stayed in some beautiful Airbnbs that have been really, really unique, like the Treehouse and the place that I stayed in Morocco, in Fez. And I really, really enjoyed those because I don't think you'd ever have found a hotel that was that different, you know, that unique. And so I love Airbnbs for that. But I've also stayed in some that haven't been that amazing. I stayed in one in Lyon, which was really, really cold, and the bedding didn't smell that clean. And, you know, places where you have to share bathrooms, I don't like so much. So I really, really like hotels for the fact that you get your own bathroom and there's privacy. But hotels as well can feel a bit sterile. You know, when you've seen one international hotel, you've seen most of them. Unless, like, you've got mega pounds to spend on sort of luxury hotels, which I don't, you know. Most travel-ins look the same as most other travel-ins. So I don't know. I like the privacy side of it. I like, your own bathroom. But at the same point, I like Airbnb for the uniqueness, and you can get some really good deals on that. So I don't know. I think it really, really depends there, which particular hotel, which particular Airbnb. Let me know your thoughts below. Do you agree with these results, or is there something on here that you find really offensive? Let me know below. What would you vote if you haven't voted already? And if you want to participate in these polls, just check out my community tab. I think you see them go past if you're scrolling on your phone, but I don't think you probably see them on a computer or laptop unless you check the community tab. But yeah. Let's carry this on going forward, and let me know what you're curious about. If you were going to run a poll like this, what would you ask? And if I see a good suggestion there, I might just do it. All right.